Well, thank you for your question, and again, thank you on behalf of Abresca for participating in the hearing today. I won't presume you're familiar with my background, but in my prior life before Direct Edge, I was the head of new listings for NASDAQ in the United States. So I am always mindful that the markets exist, again, for the benefit of the broader economy, and the issuers are a principal reflection of that economy. And their voice is not always heard as often as it should be in discussions such as this. First, I can talk to you about just Direct Edge's particular business plan here, and this is not to say this is not to preclude potential competition here, but Direct Edge has no intentions at this time of seeking primary listings among Brazilian issuers. We have the right already under Instruction 461 to trade equities listed on other exchanges, were we to satisfy the requirements of being an exchange under 461 and receiving the CVM's approval re-same. And so the necessity of soliciting issuers directly to list on our platform will not be necessary and is not intended. I think it's important for new exchanges to recognize what the secondary market trading needs of issuers are. Right? I think with respect to principal listings, that will be handled through the listing market, and will continue to do so. And I said, at least I don't expect entry by Direct Edge in that market, and I would be surprised if there's entry by anybody else. But that being said, even once an IPO occurs, issuers still do have secondary trading needs, and that's why I believe that any new exchange needs to respect and effectively be integrated into the processes for setting the opening price of an issuer stock every day, the closing price, the volatility-based auctions. Those are the aspects of market structure that are more issuer-focused. And it has ramifications for institutional and other investors as well, but those are areas where the issuer may have a heightened focus. And I do believe those areas are one where synchronization between new exchanges and the listing market, whether it's the incumbent or anybody else, will be important to make sure that issuers are considered and actually treated as an important constituency as market structure evolves towards greater competition. I hope that answers your question.
And just to follow along, we seem to have a trend here, Bill. To follow along with that, secondary issuers are also concerned about liquidity and the trading of their stock, and having the ability for people that trade that issue on multiple venues with choice again is important. There are markets where, as venues have come up to provide new services, liquidity has increased for securities. With multiple venues, for example, it's very prevalent in the U.S., it's prevalent in Europe. When a single market operator is not functioning, then the other operator can come up and trade that security. As an issuer, they want to see their security traded in a way with a lot of integrity, like we had talked about before. So having multiple venues for secondary trading can actually provide net benefits to issuers because their securities can trade more. People that are trading securities can potentially have lower fees, which maybe brings in other entrants, maybe even globally, to come in and trade into a market. There again is more liquidity. So there are scenarios globally where it increases liquidity and improves the functioning of the market if other market operators aren't operating.
Bom, estamos no horário. Tem mais alguém? Então podemos encerrar e voltar a 1 hora, quer dizer, às 2 horas da tarde, porque temos tempo bastante apertado e para dar tempo. Perdão. Quer falar? Aqui na frente, Oxera, está no... Não, você pode...
Posso falar?
Uhum. Melhor levantar, porque senão não consegue filmar.
Estou a falar aqui. Eu tenho apenas dois aspectos gerais, dois comentários gerais a fazer. Há vários aspectos, detalhes das apresentações que foram feitas, mas eu queria fazer dois comentários gerais. Antes disso, eu gostaria de apenas dizer muito obrigado a todos vocês por terem lido o nosso relatório, terem feito uma análise profunda. É melhor reconhecimento do nosso trabalho que vocês nos podiam ter dado e verdadeiramente muito obrigado. Vocês não tinham que ler 150 páginas. This is when I change to English because some of the things I need to say are stray into the technical side. There is the sort of two themes coming across the very helpful presentations. There's one theme around that our report may be promoting one model over another, and I wanted to clarify that clearly we have concerns around the complexities of the sort of trading and CCP model entry. We've got some concerns because of the complexities involved, and we recognize that in our CVA analysis. We do not say, therefore, that is not the way forward. All we say is, well, in many respects, you could enter the market in that way. It is available, as you correctly said. You could enter the market. The thing is, we have not seen that entry. Okay, so the way we position our recommendation was to think about, well, okay, if that model is not working for a variety of reasons, and that could well be because it's complex, it creates risks. If it is not taking place, that model, for a variety of very good reasons, we need to think about, okay, is there a need for an alternative model? And that's in that context that then we say consideration needs to be given to access to the CCP. So it's really, absolutely, we can see, indeed in our report, we have all the diagrams of, it's almost like a copy of Francisco's diagrams, that all possible models. It's just that we have not seen the entry, and we need to think about, ultimately, we're kind of looking at the longer term framework, and we need to think about, well, if that is not taking place for a variety of reasons, what is the alternative? So just clarify that, even though there are risks and complexities which we should not underestimate. The second point I wanted to make is I must say, when we finalized the report, we're kind of hoping we're going to go into a big meeting and there's going to be lots of stakeholders, and we're not going to have a lot of friends in there because it's it's new material, and we're going to come back with lots of different issues. And I would have thought, if anything, I would expect it that the entrance would feel a little bit, well, we're not ambitious enough, and Bovespa would feel, well, this is a balanced view of the world. We're kind of getting a little bit different today. And I just wanted to sort of take a step back and just think a little bit about actually what we're saying in our report is that we need to recognize this uncertainty around these different models. We can see as of today that those uncertainties may make entry and the benefits potentially they're not significant. What we need to think about is the longer term. Let's focus on the longer term and from the point of view of a regulator. And if the conclusion is that there is no way there can be competition in going forward, we need to think about a very different regulatory framework. Okay? I'm thinking about in other sectors when we have a monopoly that is set in stone for the next 10, 15 years, what they do, the only mechanism available is some kind of price regulation here. And okay? Now, the last thing we would want is in a market like this with innovation, with dynamics, that we'd recommend price regulation. So what we try to do is essentially think about something in the middle that kind of says, well, there is a sort of a monitoring in place, and there is a sort of, if there are concerns in going forward, you quite rightly put that diagram there, Cicero, because the question from a regulatory point of view is, as the growth in the market takes place, is the price going to follow that we can see in the market? That's the issue. What guarantees can the regulator have that that efficiency is going to be maintained and going forward? I'm thinking about the 5-10 years from today, and one a possibility is competition, and other possibility is there is no competition, and we need to think about price regulation. We think price regulation is not an option here. Nevertheless, do we say competition at all costs today? No, we don't say that. We say let's create the conditions for, if there are concerns around efficiency in the market, then competition should be the way forward. I hope I just wanted to clarify that point. So, on that note, I do hope there will be something for us to eat and a